Hey guys, what's going on? James here. Before the official start of this video, I wanted to say shout out to my latest Patreon supporter, Holden Anderson. Your support means a lot, my friend. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel in a monetary fashion, I always have the link to my Patreon down in the description of this video. And for this video, I will have it down in the comments section of this video as well. You guys do not have to support the channel in that kind of way under any circumstances, but please know that it would be greatly appreciated. But guys, I hope you all enjoy the video. Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about some of the players that you guys need to keep an eye on for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Week 6 matchup versus the Carolina Panthers. So, without further ado, guys, let's talk about it. Let's first start off with the offensive side of the ball. The first two players that I want to talk about are going to be right tackle Josh Wells and right guard Earl Watford. One of the big storylines coming out of the Buccaneers' latest matchup versus the New Orleans Saints is that both DeMar Dodson and Alex Kappa both sustained injuries in those games and are out for not only this upcoming game versus the Carolina Panthers, but for the foreseeable future. DeMar Dodson, he's dealing with a hamstring injury. We all know how those go in the NFL. They really are pretty much just week to week, and I've seen some instances where some players have landed on the injured reserve. And then in the case of Alex Kappa, he broke his arm halfway through the second quarter of that game versus the Saints, and he managed to finish the rest of his game. By the way, he's still a beast for doing that, but he's definitely going to be out, not for just this upcoming game versus the Panthers, but again, for the foreseeable future. He could end up on the IR. Broken arms, I have seen and I've heard they're not easy to come back from, especially considering you're an offensive lineman who, they specifically use their arms to stop people. So, definitely two tough injuries there. In their places, you have Josh Wells, who was a free agent addition early on in this season, and then Earl Watford, who was added in the offseason. Earl Watford, he has a history with Bruce Arians. He was a former draft pick of Bruce Arians. And then Josh Wells, he's a veteran-y type of lineman. He does have some history with the Buccaneers coaching staff. Both these guys, solid veteran presences on the offensive line. They were in backup roles. They have now been put into starting roles. Keep an eye on how they do. It's a whole brand new right side of the offensive line right now. I trust, Harold Goodwin. I trust Byron Leftwich, and I really trust this whole entire Buccaneers staff to get both those guys ready to go, have them ready for the starting jobs, and hopefully they perform well in their roles. Next player I want to talk about to keep an eye on is Buccaneers star wide receiver Mike Evans, and I will have his stats up right over here. I'm sure you guys can see the stats. They're pretty Mike Evans-esque, but the big story about last week's matchup versus the New Orleans Saints is that Mike Evans was held to 0 catches for 0 yards. That's bad. I don't remember the last time Mike Evans was held to 0 catches for 0 yards. If you guys can remember, hey, let me know down in the comment section below. I think it's only happened twice in his career, so not good. Not good at all. Shout out to Marshawn Lattimore. He really did do a great job of locking down Mike Evans, and I think that that's a theme that we've seen so far this year is that especially NFC South rivals, and it's pretty much been only NFC South rivals so far. We've played the Saints and the Panthers, and in both instances, Mike Evans was kept pretty quiet in both of those games. So hopefully in this upcoming game versus the Panthers, he can bounce back from his literally, 0 reception, 0 yard game he had versus the Saints. I fully expect him to bounce back. Him, Chris Godwin, they've been playing absolutely phenomenal this year. I think both of them have a very legitimate shot to get over 1,000 receiving yards each, very much like a few years ago. I think it was Mike Evans' first year in the league when him and Vincent Jackson both had over 1,000 yards receiving. We could see a duplicate of that season. So keep an eye out for Mike Evans to bounce back from his game versus the Saints. I think he will. They're going to be playing in London. It's going to be really early. So, we'll see how that goes. But Mike Evans, I fully expect him to bounce back. Finally, last guy that I want to talk about on the offensive side of the ball is tight end O.J. Howard. And I've talked about O.J. Howard a lot in these players to watch types of videos. I keep on waiting and waiting and waiting for O.J. Howard to have that big breakout, like 5-6 catch, 80-90 yard, and like maybe a touchdown or two type of game. And he hasn't had it yet. He's slowly building up something here as the weeks are going on. He's getting more and more opportunities and catches and whatnot, but he's not quite there yet. Bruce Arians in a press conference, Byron Leftwich in a press conference earlier on this week was asked about why isn't O.J. Howard getting many targets, and basically Byron Leftwich's answer was, we want to develop O.J. Howard's targets organically and naturally. And I know people freaked out about the use of those two words, saying, what does that even mean? I think that basically what the understanding is that this whole year has been about Jameis Winston taking what the offense is giving him, okay? He's not going to try and force stuff. He's not going to try and force targets anymore like he has done in years past. And I think with Byron Leftwich, what he meant by the words of organically and naturally when it comes to O.J. Howard getting the ball rolling on this season is just basically, hey, if O.J. Howard's open and the play is designed to get O.J. Howard open, Jameis is going to throw to him. That's as simple as it is, just if O.J. Howard gets open, Jameis will probably throw him the ball. At least that's what I interpreted from it. You guys can let me know what your interpretations are about that Byron Leftwich quote down in the comments section below. I highly recommend you go check out the full Byron Leftwich press conference. It is here on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers YouTube channel. But again, I think things are going to start rolling here with O.J. Howard as time gets on, as the Buccaneers offense gets more and more comfortable with Byron Leftwich's and Bruce Arians' scheme. We just have to continue to wait, continue to have that slow burn, that slow roll, and we will get back to seeing the O.J. Howard that we all know and love. Next, I want to talk about the defensive side of the ball. The first group of guys that I want to talk about is the secondary, specifically Vernon Hargreaves III, who we can all admit has had a couple of very, very rough games this year. I believe we're 5 games in right now, this being week 6. Of course, we're 5 games in, and Hargreaves has been very up and down. He had a good game against the San Francisco 49ers, and it just seems like things have been getting worse and worse as time goes on. And I personally like Vernon Hargreaves a lot. I think he plays with a lot of heart, a lot of determination. I love his personality and I love his view of the game. It's really cool, but I will admit that, he has struggled so far this year, and we've seen guys like Carlton Davis. He has played really, really good in my opinion. I know people have said, oh, well, he's being too physical and whatnot. It's exactly what the coaching staff wants. They want them to be physical. They want them to be tough. Is it going to draw some penalties? Yeah, it's going to draw some penalties, but let's be honest here, I guess I should say, is that the NFL referees these days aren't exactly the best at calling penalties. They miss a lot of calls and they make a lot of wrong calls. And I feel in the case of Carlton Davis, he's definitely been shafted one time or another by these NFL referees, and I don't think that every single penalty he gets is his fault. So Carlton Davis has looked absolutely phenomenal. Vernon Hargreaves III, he's left some stuff to be desired, and now you have Jamel Dean returning from injury. I'm not going to say that he's the 100% cure-all answer to the other side of this cornerback group, but definitely pay attention to it moving forward. Bruce Arians has admitted that he has missed Jamel Dean so far up to this point this year. His physicality, his size, he's very similarly built to Carlton Davis, and they were actually teammates back at Auburn. That was very cool. So keep an eye on both these guys. They both could end up being starters for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers moving forward. I would have no problems with that. So let me know what you guys think about this secondary group down in the comments section below. I think that Jordan Whitehead, Mike Edwards, they've been playing well. Carlton Davis has been playing definitely good as well. And then Sean Murphy-Bunting, he's been getting better as the weeks go on. But Vernon Hargreaves III, he's a big question mark right now. Jamel Dean's returning. Ryan Smith's back on the team. MJ Stewart's getting seemingly more and more chances as time goes on. So keep an eye on Vernon Hargreaves and what happens with him this week. Second person I want to talk about on the Buccaneers defense is linebacker Devin White, who is also returning from injury. He has missed the last couple of weeks with a knee injury. He is now officially going to be back. He was active in last week's game versus the New Orleans Saints. He did not play a single snap pretty much, and I know Bucs fans freaked out saying, where's Devin White? He's active for this game. Why isn't he playing in this game? And Bruce Arians explained it in his press conference by saying, he was active, but he wasn't fully ready to play in the game, and I don't blame them. They weren't going to take any risks with bringing in Devin White and playing him right away. Essentially, what Bruce Arians was saying was that Devin White, yes, he was active, but he was an emergency option because they lost Jack Sitchie, they lost one of their backup linebackers. Devin White, he's somewhat ready. He can technically be active for the game against the Saints, so they made him active, and they were only going to play him in a very emergency-esque type of situation, which, you know, that makes a lot of sense to me. You did lose Jack Sitchie. He's going to be out for the next few weeks. You brought back Devin White maybe a week early, but you didn't have to play him. He was only there for emergencies. That makes sense. Moving forward now to the game versus the Carolina Panthers, he is fully healthy. He is ready to go. Bruce Arians has said he is going to start versus the Carolina Panthers, and you all know about Devin White at this point. The guy's athletic. The guy's a freak. The guy's an absolute specimen of an athlete and of a linebacker. And, you know, no knock to Kevin Minter. I think Kevin Minter did a wonderful job filling in for the hole that Devin White left, but Devin White just has that raw ability. You know, Kevin Minter's an awesome veteran presence, and I do think he could start the rest of the year for this team if he needed to, but Devin White, he just has that raw talent, that raw ability, that raw athleticism, everything that you want in your prototypical linebacker. That's Devin White, and he's bringing all of that back to the Buccaneers. That's going to be a huge addition to the defense. They're going to blitz him more. I you know, definitely see Devin White blitzing a lot more in this upcoming matchup versus the Panthers, if he is, you know, 100% healthy, like what has been alluded so far up to this point. So Devin White's going to be an awesome welcomed addition back to this Buccaneers defense. Going to add a lot of speed, a lot of ability, and just a lot of leadership as well. We all know the kind of leader that Devin White can be. So Devin White, welcome back, man. I'm excited to see you play versus the Carolina Panthers. Last two guys I want to talk about here. The first one is Vita Vea and BBP Chris on Twitter. Shout out to you, my friend. He's really been banging the drum of pay attention to Vita Vea. Pay attention to Vita Vea. I know Shaq is getting all the flashy numbers, but Vita Vea is seriously helping out that pass rush. And I've got to agree with him, and I really think that we should dial in and really focus in on Vita Vea in this matchup versus the Carolina Panthers, because last time they played the Carolina Panthers, Vita Vea was instrumental in Shaq Barrett's big game versus the Panthers last time in week 2. The guy's just doing things that a guy his size should not be able to do. He has a spin move. He's rushing the passer. He's just blowing up double teams. He's been a beast so far. He's been really, really good. When he gets double teamed, that gets guys like Shaq Barrett on one-on-ones, and usually Shaq Barrett ends up winning his one-on-ones this year, so that's been awesome to see. So keep an eye on Vita Vea, how he does. The guy's been, you know, really, really awesome since the second half of last season. He was a first-round draft pick. He really is showing it. I know the numbers aren't necessarily there of, oh, but he's not getting a lot of sacks. Let me tell you, you know, and shout out to you again, BBP Chris on Twitter, my friend. Seriously, Vita Vea has meant a lot to this defensive line and just this defense as a whole this year. Bruce Arians has raved about him. Todd Bowles has raved about him. He's been doing a lot of awesome things, so definitely pay attention to him and how he affects the pocket of the quarterback, Kyle Allen, in this game, and how he affects things like double teams, matchups on the offensive line versus the Buccaneers defensive line, and stuff like that. And then finally, the last guy I want to talk about, Shaq Barrett. I'm always going to mention Shaq Barrett in these videos because I love Shaq Barrett. He's absolutely amazing. Will he get to 10 sacks in this game? Tough call. They'll probably double team him a lot. They'll probably hold him a lot. They'll pretty much do everything they can to stop Shaq Barrett, but I like to believe that he is going to get 10 sacks in this game. I thought it last week versus the Saints. Didn't happen, but I like his chances more this week versus the Carolina Panthers. They have a way less better offensive line than the Saints have. I think the Saints have one of the better offensive lines in the league. I think Shaq Barrett, he's got a really nice opportunity here again. We saw what he did last time versus the Carolina Panthers. I think he can replicate that, especially against a young quarterback in Kyle Allen. Way, you know, different kind of feel than what Cam Newton has. He's not as mobile, I guess you could say, and I know Cam Newton was probably playing hurt in that last game, but, you know, a young quarterback, you can take an opportunity for that. You can get pressure on him. You can rattle him a little bit. So hopefully Shaq Barrett does that. Hopefully he gets to 10 sacks, and hopefully he just continues the dominance that he has shown so far this season. Guys, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed, but, you know, let me know what other players you guys are going to be keeping an eye on down in the comments section below. Did you like the players that I mentioned, and what other players would you put in on on my list. But guys, again, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed. I will be having a preview video coming out very soon after this video. And again, shout out to Holden Anderson, my latest Patreon supporter. If you guys want to support me on Patreon, the link to my Patreon is always down in the description below, and I will have it in my comment section in this video as well. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed. But until the next video or the next live stream, I'll see you guys in the next one. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.